So a little bit of geometry review. How would you tell another person what an angle is? I mean, you all know what an angle is, but it's not easy to explain, right? Well, it looks like the mouth of an alligator. Come on. That's what I would tell my son. He's 5, though. I don't think that definition would satisfy you guys. So, okay, you start with a ray, and then you take a copy of a ray with so a ray is like half a line, right? It has a starting point but no end point, and it's straight, right? You start with a ray and then another copy of the ray, and then you rotate it to create that separation between the two copies, and that's an angle. And that's basically what the definition is going to say. An angle is formed by rotating a ray about its endpoint. So it's really rotating a copy of a ray. I can demonstrate that with this software here. Here's my ray. We'll call this, so the beginning point is right here. We'll call this the initial side of the angle. Call that the initial side. And then I'll just make a copy of this ray. Okay, and then so you take the copy of the ray and you rotate it. If you rotate it counterclockwise, we call the angle that's formed positive. If you rotate it clockwise, we call the angle negative, and that's just the conventional way to do it. There's no real great reason for it. Okay, so let's rotate that initial side, and then wherever we stop, that place where we stop, that ray where we stop is the terminal side. That copy of the ray is the terminal side. And then, of course, the angle that we're referring to is right here, right? We often use Greek symbols. You'll see this one a lot, theta, or alpha, or beta. We often use those symbols to represent angles. And so theta is our angle here, and it would be a positive angle because of the way I created it by rotating the initial side, a copy of the initial side in a counterclockwise fashion. And then for some reason, 1 degree is 1 over 360, 1/360th of a full rotation, right? So 1 degree is 1/360th of one full rotation. So if you took that initial side, made a copy of it, and rotated it all the way around, that would be 360 degrees. Okay, and then the idea of coterminal angles. Coterminal angles would be angles that share the same terminal side. They're not the same measure, but they share the same terminal side. So find a coterminal angle for 790 degrees that is between 0 and 360 degrees. Well, okay. Let me back off what I'm doing here. Let me just make sure you understand what coterminal angles are with a simpler example. Is that okay? So let's start with my little ray here. There's my initial side, and so I'll rotate, let's see, that would be about 90 degrees, right? So let's say I rotate 45 degrees. I'm just eyeballing it, but right about there. Okay, so my angle measure is, say, 45 degrees. So let's make the terminal side a different color so that I can refer to it easily. Terminal side will be blue. So the blue side's the terminal side. If I want to create an angle measure that's coterminal with that 45 degrees there, all I have to do is add or subtract a multiple of 360. In other words, from that terminal side, right? Starting at 45 degrees, if I rotate, say in the positive direction, counterclockwise, another 360, where am I actually at altogether if you add the 45 and the 360? Yeah. So the angle in green is actually 45 degrees. I started at 45 degrees, and then I added a rotation of 360 degrees, and that's 405 degrees. So 45 degrees and 405 degrees are coterminal. So let me point at these guys so you make sure you understand. Those guys are coterminal. And in drawing it, if you want to indicate, it's really hard to tell that angle in green is 405 degrees as opposed to 45, right? So if you want to indicate that, you could actually start at the initial side, go around once, use this little spiral, go around once, there's 360 plus another 45. So and then label it. There's your 405, right? Then it's understandable. Oh, yeah, that guy in green right there is 405, not 45 degrees. Okay? Now, you could just as easily go the other way around, couldn't you? So I'm not going to draw this one for you, but if I started at 45 degrees and subtracted 360, which all that means is you're rotating clockwise. Now, from the terminal side of 45 degrees, you're rotating clockwise if you subtract 360, one full revolution. So what's 45 minus 360? 315, but is it positive or negative? There we go, negative 315. And so this guy is coterminal with the other two as well. They're all coterminal. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, with that in mind, then I want you guys to do this one. Wake you up if you just do it in your notes real quick. So find a coterminal angle for 790 degrees. So that's more than 2 rotations around. 790 degrees, but you got to make it between 0 and 360. That's an important thing to be able to do. Okay? So find a coterminal angle for 790 that is between 0 and 360. Go. It's not a race. I'm just kidding. So what is your answer to this one? 70 degrees sounds right to me. How'd you get it? So you took 790 and what'd you do? Subtracted. So there's a couple different ways to think about it. You could subtract a multiple of 360. Just make sure you don't go negative, right? Or you could just keep subtracting 360. That's the equivalent thing to do. Keep subtracting 360 if the number isn't too big until you get between 0 and 360 and then stop. So that's what a lot of people do. So, I mean, you could subtract just 720 all at once, or you could subtract 360, realize, oh, that's still bigger than 360 if you do that subtraction. So I'll subtract another 360, and which is 720 altogether. So what's 790 minus 720? 70. Then the question naturally arises, okay, let's change this ever so slightly to negative 790. So this is your coterminal angle with positive 790. These are coterminal. That's the whole point of this problem. They share the same terminal side. But what if it's negative 790? Then what would you have to do? Yeah, don't subtract 720, add 720, right? Or add multiples of 360. So I'll just do it all at once. 720. Oh, but wait a minute, that's not enough, is it? Because then you get negative 70, don't you? And that's not, well, it's not following directions, right? It is a coterminal angle. It's just not between 0 and 360 degrees. So what do you got to do? Well, yeah, you don't have to start all over. Just add another 360. And what does that get you? Positive 290. So there you go. So there's another coterminal angle.